පැමිණ සිටින උපසන ඇමතීම සඳහා මේ ගෞරවනීය ආරාධනය ජිනීවාහි එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නීති නියෝජිත ගවර්නර් කාර්යසිංහ
தற்போது வைகோத்தில் உரையாற்ற ஜெனீவாவில் உள்ள ஐக்கிய நாடுகளுக்கான இலங்கை தூதுவர் ரவீனா காரியசிங் அவர்களை அழைக்கிறோம்.
I would like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Ravinatha Arya Permanent Representative to the United Nations, to address the gathering.
Vanakkam, Assalamu alaikum, good evening. Venerable sirs, reverend sirs, ladies and gentlemen, and dear sons and daughters. Together with colleagues of the Sri Lanka Mission in Geneva, I warmly welcome you to this 66th Independence Day celebrations being held in Geneva. As we gather here today, over the past year, under the leadership of President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Sri Lanka has seen unprecedented advancement in the post-conflict era. Some of those have already been stated in the messages of His Excellency, the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable Foreign Minister. In terms of physical development, any of you who would have recently been to Sri Lanka would not recognize parts of Colombo as well as some of the other metropolitan areas if you visited today from a couple of years ago. In the northern and eastern provinces, the former theatres of conflict, even more development has taken place, which is spectacular. And while the whole country has grown at a little over 7%, these areas have grown at 27%. This has not been confined to physical development, as some may try to construe. Genuine efforts are being made at reconciliation to heal the wounds of the past through finding ways for people to find closure on all sides of the ethnic and religious divide in Sri Lanka, which have suffered for long years over the 30-year terrorist conflict. The most significant step in this process was the holding of the Northern Provincial Council election in September 2013. With respect to the international community, Sri Lanka has had vigorous engagement that have been highlighted in the holding of the Chogam Conference, the Commonwealth Heads of Governments Conference, as well as the many visits by foreign dignitaries to Sri Lanka, including last August by the High Commissioner for Human Rights. While no doubt there is more to achieve, and for that we must work harder, Sri Lanka's achievements up to date is no mean gain. Given the bad image we had gained before the conflict ended, today when you watch television newscasts, it is a great solace to see that Sri Lanka is not anywhere near the headlines and that there is nobody dying in Sri Lanka due to conflict. I think we forget this real fact where all of us have lost someone of ours in a conflict which raged 30 years. That fortunately is no more. However, the negative perceptions and the negative projection of Sri Lanka continues to persist for the reasons the Venerable Mahasangha as well as others in the other statements have pointed to. Last year, addressing the first independence celebrations in Geneva, which I attended, I call upon you, my fellow countrymen and women, to reflect as to what more you could do to meet this challenge. 1 year later, having come to know you better, the work you do and the sentiments you have for your country, my colleague, the ambassador to the WTO who handles trade, and I have been encouraged by, among those, some who have played a catalytic role in persuading friends and associates to visit Sri Lanka and to invest in Sri Lanka. There have also been a few who have been, including one who just walked through this door today, who inquired from me how they could contribute their expertise for the betterment of their motherland. I am particularly touched when I visit fellow ambassadors and heads of international organizations in Geneva by what I hear of the efforts made by their staff who are of Sri Lankan origin in different areas of work to lobby Sri Lanka's issues. I am strengthened by this. I also appreciate the assistance we receive from time to time from those working within the international organizations and other agencies in Geneva to leverage those organizations' energies towards the benefit of Sri Lanka and Sri Lankans. I don't want to mention names of organizations or individuals, but there have been occasions in the last year where some visits, both to Colombo and to Geneva, have been made much more profitable thanks to the help given by those of you. And I am deeply appreciative of that and look forward to continued collaboration for myself as well as my staff in this regard. Last year, I also called upon you to, in your own ways, to contribute towards moderating the negative narratives on Sri Lanka, propagated about Sri Lanka, clarifying genuine concerns and debunking falsehoods. In this context, I am greatly encouraged by what I have seen, particularly over the past few months, where across Switzerland, some valiant Sri Lankans have found time, resources, and also the energy to make their presence felt in turning up and challenging the many one-sided events which have been spread in this country by the Tamil, pro-LTT expatriate Tamil community. I have had the honor of inviting some of them to this normally largely Geneva-based occasion, Geneva community-based occasion, to join us today from far-flung places in Switzerland to honor them for their effort and the contribution they have made to their motherland. I thank you, and for those who are not here, my greetings and gratitude to them as well, and we look forward to working them in the future, and I ask all those here to also join in these efforts to make sure that Sri Lanka's name is not tarnished, and whenever Sri Lanka is challenged, to stand up for your motherland in the future as well. My wish is that their work will inspire us all, because as was stated, today is a particularly challenging time, and particularly challenging times need particularly brave and courageous moves. So as I close my speech, thanking all of you once again, Venerable Sirs, Reverend Sirs, ladies and gentlemen and children, for your presence here on behalf of my staff, I want to urge you that once again I ask you that you continue to leverage whatever capacities you have to support Sri Lanka's cause in this hour of need. I thank you.